been a demonstrator for 13 years and is from New York. Her suite really showcases how you might demonstrate the blends to your customers, and she has a lot of samples and tips to help you do this. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Jessica Brigden.
Hello everyone, I'm Jessica Brigden. Some of you may know me online. I'm Jess B, Creative Cardiology. But what you might not know is that stamping and paper crafting have always been a part of my life. From my childhood, my mom would use a cookie cutter on a potato to make little shapes, and then I would stamp those with food coloring onto paper towels. And my first real job in high school was at the Hallmark store. And then later on, I met my upline at the post office when she mailed her pretty cards and Stampin' Up's clear envelopes. So needless to say, my Stampin' Up journey has been quite the adventure, and I never dreamed it would lead me to being here with you today, but I'm so glad that it has. Today, I get to share with you the Bird Ballad suite. The suite was designed with the avid crafter in mind, and it tells the Stampin' Blend story to really showcase the Stampin' Blends and get customers excited about them. This suite is unique in that the concept of coloring with blends was actually the inspiration behind the whole suite. So in your catalog, it's found on pages 90 to 92, if you want to follow along with me. First, we have the Free as a Bird stamp set. So this stamp set has several sentiments, as well as some line art images, which are great for a variety of coloring techniques, but especially the Stampin' Blends. And then we have the Bird Ballad Designer Series paper. So let me show you that here. So it has these lovely florals and the pretty birds, and they're paired with some basic patterns, like we have the stripes in here, and then we have some polka dots as well. So this paper was first hand-drawn in black and white, and then the concept artist actually colored it with the Stampin' Blends. And this was to ensure that when you color with Stampin' Blends and then pair it with a DSP, that your look will be cohesive. And if you were to fussy cut all of the birds from this particular page, so this is actually 12 by 12. But if you were to fussy cut these images, you would actually get 24 birdies on a branch that you could use on your various projects, like I've shown in my scrapbook page up on the sample. Then we have the nested labels dies. Aren't these gorgeous? I love the stitching on these. It's on the inside and the outside in a variety of shapes, including one little stitched line. And then here's a project that I've used on those that you can see the stitching on both layers there. So it really gives your card the wow factor. So of course, every product suite needs some bling. This is my favorite part. I love the Bird Ballad trinkets. So I've shown those here. And I love that they're not just for card making, but they'll appeal to a variety of crafters, including those that like to make jewelry. So here I've done a necklace, a little bracelet here, and I've made earrings too, but you can't really see those. And then we have the scalloped lace trim that comes in very vanilla. And then we have the tin of laser cut cards and envelopes. So it comes in that pretty petal pink color with the gold leafing. And then I've added the belly band here, so that would make a great gift. And then inside are 12 of the laser cut cards. Yes. And then the envelopes have this pretty little scallop edge as well. So as a demonstrator, I do a variety of things in my business. I have a mix of customers, and they have different skill levels and purchasing habits. And my business is primarily in person, So I'm going to show you some samples and how I plan to use those in the different events that I do. So we know that this was designed for the avid crafter, but we don't want to leave out our beginner crafters too. So I've paired the stamp set with the very vanilla note cards, and I think the soft suede ink is perfect for that vintage feel. I've done some simple stamping here. So these would be perfect as a make and take at a new customer workshop, or even if you were to do a vendor event, customers can come up and do this quick little make and take at your booth. Thank you. So when we're thinking about new crafters, price point is something we want to keep in mind, and our customers can purchase everything they need to make 20 of these note cards for right around the $40 price point. Then we have our casual crafters, and for those I've used the laser cut cards and envelopes. I have added a punch, done a little bit of coloring with the blends. Again, we have the lace trim on here, and I added some of the Calypso coral. That's my color of the day here, to really make it pop. Now, for this, it would be perfect for a product-based class, in which I would suggest having the customers pre-purchase the Freeze-A-Bird stamp set, as well as the tin of laser cut cards. And then I would design 4 different cards for them to make. I have the other 3 samples on my board. And then they could complete the rest as we have time, or they can just take them home with them. Next up, we have our avid crafters. So here's the card I've designed for that. I love the shabby chic vintage feel of this suite. So here I've paired the designer series paper, and then I've done some coloring with the blends, with multiple colors, and then added a little throwback technique with the tearing and the sponging. So this project is actually really simple to do. So one little tip here when coloring with the blends is not to overthink it, because Stampin' Up! Has already done the shading for us. So I like to use my dark color and just highlight some of those areas, and then go back in with my light color and just blend it all together, and it looks great. So for the technique, just hold this in place with your thumb and go ahead, don't feel afraid to tear it. This is stamping therapy. So go ahead and just rip that baby off. And then I've inked this up with soft suede ink. It's just a wedge of sponge, and brush that on there. So for this, it would be great to use it as the focus of an all-day craft event, or even a weekend-long scrapbook and crafting retreat, because of course the avid crafters, they're going to want the whole suite, and of course they're going to need some Stampin' blends too. So every craft day or party needs some table favors, so we'll try, but I have a little birdie here in the cage. I told you I fussy cut all of those birds from that particular pattern. So there's a couple birds that do actually match up. I've got the yellow one in here too. All right, so for this project, I've created a little template for you, which I will post on the board. But you need 3 strips of 1/2 inch by 8.5 inch. I just use Wister white cardstock here, and I've secured them in the middle with a brad. So when you start to spread those out and then bend them down, you'll see how they start to take shape, and you'll secure them with the belly band around the bottom. So for this, you're going to need your Stampin' Pierce mat, the pokey part of your multi-purpose tool, a brad, and then lots of tear and tape. So a little reminder, thank you. A little reminder when planning in-person events is that your marketing really is just as important as the projects that you design. Because no matter how awesome your projects are, you really need to advertise well. A wise demonstrator once shared with me what she called her 4x4x4 rule. Advertise 4 weeks in advance, share it 4 different ways, and remind people 4 different times. Because if a customer doesn't know about your event, then you can't expect them to attend. 4 things I try to do are to create an event flyer that I can hand out in person. I'll send a customer newsletter by email, update my DBWS, and then post the event to my Facebook business page. Now I know that you are all excited to see what you get to make. So this is the make and take that Stampin' Up! Has designed for us. Super cute. So a couple little tips here are to make sure to color, to stamp first, and then color with your blends. And then you'll take your lace trim, pull it across the front, and then secure it to the back so that your edges aren't poking out the side of your card. So for this project, you're going to need 3 pieces of ribbon, 1 for across the front, and then 2 different pieces for the bow, and these are just slipped under and tied on there. So those pieces are 10 scallops each. That's about 5.5 inches a piece. So I hope you love these projects and the Bird Ballads product suite as much as I do. All of these products are part of the product purchase premiere. So be sure to get them all, especially all the packages of the Designer Series paper and the Bird Ballad trinkets, so that you can get ready to show your team members and your customers. So be sure to check out the product display boards here in the back for some additional product inspiration as well. Thank you all so much, and have a great day here at Onstage.